Alright, welcome to Dark Souls Remastered. This will be a all-boss walkthrough as a strength build. I will not be getting all the items this time around anyway. One of these times I play this game, I will do an 100% item and boss walkthrough, like a whole game walkthrough. I will be showing all the cutscenes and everything in this game though, so you'll be getting most of the Dark Souls experience. And you don't really need most of the items in this game for just one build. It is kind of gratifying to get all of the items in the game and complete it though. I have not done that yet. I still will do that. Then I'll record it and we'll have that as well. This will just be a strength build, all boss walkthrough. The game's fun regardless of how you play it. So we're going to hop into it here. Make a character. Keep it simple. Make it my YouTube channel name. Like I said, I will be doing a strength build. So it's kind of a toss-up between Bandit and Warrior for me. Warrior's got good dex though, which you do need for some of the strength weapons. You do need a little bit of dex, so I'm just going to go Warrior to just keep it easy. For gift, I always go Master Key, just to be able to skip through some areas that I don't want to, although this is kind of a... yeah, we'll just go Master Key. I don't really want to skip large portions of anything. Just go basic everything else. Really care about character customization that much. It's a lot better in 3 than it is in this game, and 2 actually. Alright, we should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so you guys can watch the cutscene.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone scales. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. Seath the Scaleless betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. and amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
Yeah, that cutscene is one of my favorites in any game, like ever. I never get sick of that one. Okay, so I'm going to give a little bit of a basic rundown here, just so any newcomers can get an idea of where to start, if you are watching and playing along. So, you press start button on your controller, and you get this little 4-bar menu up at the top right, shows you what everything is. So this one is your inventory. This is where all your stuff is, your items, weapons, keys, materials, arrows, rings, everything is in this, and it's all organized, thankfully. You don't have to go looking through one big list. One moreover is your equipment screen. This is where your weapons, shields, armor, rings, arrows, and items are, and you can switch them out at any time, at any point. It doesn't, unless you're in a cutscene, of course. But you can even change the stuff in boss fights, and that's that's very tactical, and I don't have the skill to do that. So I would just make sure I have everything set before a boss fight. Usually you'll keep your Estus. You'll see what that is, not in a little bit actually, not too long. Your healing items, and you can also put items here that cure poison, toxic. You can put like humanity here, and I'll explain what humanity is here when we get it. So, right now you just have a sword hilt, not really good for anything. You'll get a weapon really fast, actually. You can see over to the right there, there's a pretty good stat menu. If you hit one more over to the right, you get a bigger stat menu and a more broad stat menu. I wouldn't worry about the stuff on in the middle column too much, especially towards the middle and bottom. That's really technical, at least for me, because I don't ever pay attention to it. But the HP and stamina and equip load on the top of the middle column are important to pay attention to. Obviously, HP is hit points or health points. How much health you got. Your stamina is how much stamina you have, and your equip load is important. Your equip load, it determines how fast you can move and roll. You can see right now, if I were to roll, it's a pretty slow roll. I don't think it's considered a fat roll. A fat roll is when you just like roll and you hit the ground and don't move. This is probably considered a mid roll. And so your equip load is directly tied to your weapons, your shields, and your armor. So the heavier of stuff you have on, or the more stuff you've equipped, obviously the heavier you're going to be. It's pretty easy to get it figured out. So like if I took off my helmet and my gloves, I might be able to, yeah, so if I took off helmet and gloves, it's enough to make it a fast roll. This is the fastest roll you can get in this game, and it's very nice for dodging. So I'm actually probably going to leave my helmet and gloves off just to make it easier on myself, because I don't have a you don't get a shield or anything to start. You have to go find that stuff. It's kind of a basic rundown. I could actually just real quick, yeah, so your poise on the top right of the right-hand column is also pretty important. Poise is what you use to basically just kind of tank through attacks. The more poise you have, I think the less likely it is that you get staggered from an attack. I don't remember how it works. I'll look it up in between videos and I'll get back to you on that one. Because that poise is good if you want to be a tank class or a tank character, which is kind of what I'm doing. And on the left-hand column, I didn't even cover this one. Your level is how many levels you've leveled up, and your souls, how many souls you have, souls you get by killing enemies and stuff like that, and using soul items. Vitality is health. Attunement, intelligence, and faith are all tied to magic, so don't worry about any of those if you're doing just a strength build or a dex build. Endurance is important. That's how much. That green bar at the top left is your stamina, and the red one is obviously your health. And I'll get to what that number, or that 00 is soon, once we get humanity. Your strength is directly tied to strength weapons and how much strength you have, and some weapons require a certain strength number to use. Same thing with dexterity and intelligence and faith. Some spells and stuff can't be cast unless you have a certain number of those things. It's not super hard to get a hang of, but getting everything figured out for a build is kind of tough. You don't have to kill these guys, you can just keep running forward. I don't think I'm going to do an actual walkthrough of this game. I think it's just going to be kind of a playthrough. I'll do the walkthrough once we get to 100%. But I don't really have to explain where I'm going here because you see what I'm doing anyway. So, yeah, first part of this game, pretty fun for new players. It's different. Definitely not your average tutorial level. First bonfire. And if you don't know how bonfires work, these are essentially your checkpoints. They do respawn all enemies when you rest at them. So just like that, if I would have killed anything on the way up here, it would have respawned and been exactly where it was. So, I always use your rest of the bonfires unless I'm doing like a skip or something, or like the kind of a speedrun strat. So for this one, you don't really have to worry about it. Enemies, the more you kill, the more souls you get. So it is kind of beneficial to respawn them if you're waiting for that kind of thing. So, and if we were to die, we would come back right here. So, pretty basic idea of checkpoint and how bonfires work, and that's also where you level up, is those guys over there. So, you open up this door right here, and as you look right up, you can see our first boss that we aren't going to be fighting yet. And don't run to the middle of the floor after or before the boss fight, because there's another boss down there we have to come back for. Going over here to the left, won't even get a chance to attack you. Completely safe. There's another bonfire directly down here, so go ahead and rest at that guy. And I am playing in offline mode, for anyone wondering. I don't want to get invaded midway through recording and have to deal with that. I probably will use a few summons in this video, depending on how I feel and how fast I want to get through a boss, because it does help sometimes. So right there, you pick up your first shield. Go ahead and equip that in your shield slot right there, and there you go. You hold LB on the Xbox. I'm using an Xbox controller. LB to hold it up. And if you can see here, he's going to attack. And it will nullify the attack, but it will take some stamina. Same thing goes for melee attacks. But the longer you hold your shield up, the slower your stamina recovers, so be careful. And there's our first sword. You can go and equip that and get rid of the straight sword hilt. Pretty good sword for now. Definitely going to need an upgrade at some point, but it will work for a while. Go up there and take out this guy right here. Not threatening. If you ever played an Xbox game or anything on a controller, you know how to attack. Right button is your light attack, and right trigger is your heavy attack. And that's pretty much all I need to know. And then LT is parry. I'll be parrying a little bit. I've never been able to master parrying. I've gotten it down for the knights and stuff, but still, it's challenging. Harder in Dark Souls 2, I think, than anything. So, we're going to want to go through here, and, clearly that's not going to work. So, you put 2 and 2 together, and that's what you get. So be careful, you run up here, a bull's going to come down and hop off the side, you won't lose any health at all, really. Come on here, and we'll talk to our buddy Oscar.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you?
I always hit yes for this.
Admittedly, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family: thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite.
And the most important item in the whole game.
And this.
And that's pretty important too.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now. And thank you.
Rest in peace, my boy Oscar. So the Estus flask, as you can probably guess, is your healing. So it'll always equip itself right here once you get it from Oscar. So always go talk to him unless you're doing some weird challenge where you don't get to heal yourself. Well, people do that. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the Dark Souls all games no hit. Pretty impressive. So Estus does also refill at bonfires, and kindling bonfires will give you more Estus. We'll get more into that later. We can actually do it. And then you hold B to sprint, all that stuff. I don't really need to go over much else, I don't think. I have a bad habit of over-explaining everything. Alright, here we go. Oh, I'm playing so conservatively. These guys are 2-hit, and I played this game for a long time. That, I mean, a year and a half. But after your first playthrough, it's pretty straightforward, as I get hit in the face with an arrow. So, this usually means that there's a boss. It doesn't always. There are some areas in this game that have a fog wall that just kind of open to a new area. But a lot of the time, if you see a big fog wall like this, usually means there's a boss on your side. I'm going to go ahead and fight our first boss with an actual weapon this time. And if you hold the right button as you drop, you can do a drop attack, and that took away almost half his health, so I'd recommend doing that. This guy's pretty easy to attack. You hit right stick, you can lock on. And a note for dodging. Dodge when his attacks look like they're going to hit you, so I'll show you in a second. Like that. It's kind of weird. Everything has different timing, so you have to kind of figure out what timing has what. That's the easiest advice I can give you. Or right before, yeah, that one has a little bit of an AoE attack. This guy is not hard to take down. Dodge and roll, hit the belly a couple times, and dodge again. And should be... Yep, here we go. Very menacing tutorial boss first time around, I'll tell you that much. Usually after every boss you get a bunch of souls and humanity. Bottom right number counter there is your soul counter. As you can see, I have 2,000 souls from that boss. And souls are where you need to upgrade your character. So souls are important. And, I must note, if you do die, you lose your souls at the spot where you died, and you can pick them up again in the next life. But if you die again before picking them up, you lose them and have to start again with souls. You don't lose anything, just the souls. I shouldn't say everything, but... Alright, here we go. Out of the Asylum.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Alright, and you have now landed in the coolest hub area in any video game I've ever played. Besides maybe Dark Souls 2's hub area. You'll see that when I play through it, if I end up playing through it. So now, this is kind of where you come back to after everywhere. So after every like segment or boss, you come back here. Good place to relax and level up. I'm actually going to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and press the bonfire, and you can see the level up button. Go ahead and hit that. Depending on what you want to do, you can level up whatever you want. I usually start out by going 1 or 2 into Vitality and Endurance, so probably try and get both those guys up to 15, and then we'll go down here and worry about Strength and Dex, whatever weapon we end up using. I'm thinking probably the Zweihander or the Giant Club, just because they're pancake weapons and I love those. So, this is probably where I'm going to leave off this episode. I'm probably going to just divide it up into segments based on what area we're in. So, next time we'll tackle the Undead Burg, which is that way, and the boss that is over there, and then just every area after that usually has a boss. So, tackle an area and then a boss. So, I will see you guys in the next episode.